everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm gonna be talking about this book I just read called A Fate Inked in Blood. Oh my gosh, guys, like, this is the first book I read by this author, and to tell you that I want to read more and I can't wait for the next book to come out, it's just, yes, I cannot wait. So let me show you the cover. Now, I don't have the beautiful sprayed edges that this book came out with because I got this in my Book of the Month box. It was actually one of the selections for, I believe, March. So I decided to pick that as my selection. So I'm a little bummed that I didn't get the sprayed edges, but all in all, that was the only thing that's different from my understanding. But oh my gosh. So this is a fantasy novel that is built on Norse mythology. So you've got, all of those Norse gods: Odin, Loki, Freyja, I think that's how you say it, which this main character's name is Freya, who she is named after that goddess. So, what comes to happen is that she's got a drop of God's blood, and she is the Shield Maiden. Well, there was a prophecy that the Shield Maiden would, whoever controls the Shield Maiden, they will be able to unite Scotland. Let's start out at the beginning. So at the beginning, we see our main character, Freya. She is skinning and gutting some fish, and her husband, who is a vile man, who she absolutely hates, is basically telling her, "You're doing it wrong, you need to do this, blah, 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 whatever." Well, he then, he's got a drop of God's blood in him as well. Well, his power is over the sea or water in general. So he decides to take all the fish that's in the river and dump it on land. And so Freya, who doesn't want all these fish to die, especially when she knows that her and her village aren't going to be able to eat all that in time before it goes bad, she starts throwing the fish into the river. Well, she then meets Bjorn, who she hits in the face with a fish. Instant attraction. And I mean, when I say that this author did a great job depicting what this man looked like, I mean, he's gorgeous. So she has instant attraction, and she's like, "I shouldn't, I'm a married woman," but she hates her husband. So, and they flirt a little bit, whatever. But then the Jarl, over their area, he's actually there. And so she sees her brother. Well, then the Jarl wants Freya to fight Bjorn to the death, by the way. And Freya's like, "Well, I guess I'll give it my all. And if I die, I die. At least I'll be gone from my husband," which I think is really funny. She hates her husband that much, which, I mean, she has every reason to, because he is a vile man. But she then ends up calling her god's name that she's got her drop of blood in. And so they find out that she is the Shield Maiden. Well, here's the thing. She'd go and practice in secret, training and all that stuff. Well, her vile husband overheard her one day. So he was like, "Well, I can get money for her. And I don't like her anyway. She won't produce an heir for me." So he tells the Jarl. And come to find that they're now divorced, whatever. Well, he then is like, well, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna propose to, I think her name is Ingrid, which her brother is in love with Ingrid. So to help both Ingrid and her brother out, she just grabs Jorn's axe, which is in flames, by the way, because he's got a drop of God's blood, and that is his power. He calls upon his flaming axe. She grabs it, she throws it, and hits him in the back of the head, dead. Gone. And to be quite fair, I was happy, because I did not like that guy. But now her hands burned, all that other kind of stuff. So I'm not gonna like go through everything because it would be a super long book and you've been able to read it. But that's just the premise of it. So the Jarl takes control of her. They get married, even though technically it's not valid because they never consummated it. Well, through the entire book, because this is a fantasy romance, her and Jorn have chemistry like no other, and she's trying her best not to like get into that, like let it take over, because she's trying to think of her family, which her family are assholes. Her brother only thinks about himself, and his mother and their mother does not care about Freya at all. So, like, oh, and the angst, though, between her and Jorn, I just absolutely loved. I literally died every time there was this tension and she ended up pulling back, or the intensity in his eyes. And it's like, oh, just get together already, okay? But, I mean, the author did such a great job. And, I mean, this is not a long book. You know what I mean? It's, I think, maybe 400 pages. Let's check. It's 414 pages. So, it's not deep. It's not long. It's like a mid, I would say. But the author did such a great job. The pacing was good. The angst between the two main characters for romance was great. There was action. There was like conniving. There was anger and all the emotions, and she did such a great job of describing it. I just really can't wait till the second one comes out, especially since, you know, found out that Jorn is the traitor in all of this, and he actually calls Harold of Nordland his father, not Sojourn, I think is the Jarl's name in Scotland, even though Scotland is technically, or even though Shorn is technically his father. But in the end of it, we come to find out that Sojourn, he was the one that attacked Jorn's mother. So, like, his mother's not dead. Even though, through the whole book, you think she's dead. So there's that little twist. Jorn's actually a Nordlander, even though his blood is Scotland. And so we don't entirely know what is going on between Harold and his mom. If Harold married his mom, we don't know that yet. But they're all going to Nordland. And Harold is like, I want you, Freya, to come to my side willingly. I'm not going to make you. So Freya's like, okay, well, maybe I can actually think for myself this time. But she still thinks that she's a prisoner. And now she hates Jorn. But really, she doesn't hate him. She's just upset with him. And we'll pretty much find out more about that. But Jorn is like, I didn't lie to you other than this. Like, I care about you. I love you. I want to live my life with you. But she thinks he's lying because he lied about this. So it'll be interesting to see how in the next book they can get over this little hump. But like the other big thing, and the reason why there was a second prophecy of her destroying everything was because she actually has two bloods. She has got a drop of blood from the god Helen and a drop of blood from the god of the underworld, and I forget his name. I think it starts with an H too. Helos? No, that's like a sun god or something, or like that. Helos means sun. Helm, maybe. But like when that happened, I was like, what? Which of course it was foreshadowed anyway, because of what she did in the cave with her and Jorn. She cursed them down to hell. And it actually worked. She just thought nothing of it. But then, you know, she does it again. And that's when Harold is like, you've got a drop of his blood. So she could go either way. So it'll be interesting to see what she does in the next book. And the plot itself, like, was so good. I didn't just enjoy this for the fantasy. I definitely enjoyed it for not only the fantasy, the romance. It wasn't just the romance that I enjoyed. I love the fantasy plotline, using the Norse mythology and twisting it into a way that, you know, you get those powers from the gods, and it's just so interesting. And I heard her Bridge Kingdom series, because the author is Danielle L. Jensen. So she wrote the Bridge Kingdom series, and I haven't read that yet. But I heard it is a fantasy series, but there's no magic. It's just political and romance. So I'm really interested in possibly picking that up at some point, just to see more of her writing. But I'm telling you, this was a phenomenal read for me. I think I gave it 4.5, maybe. I'd have to look on my Goodreads. But this was so good. I really enjoyed it. If you haven't picked it up yet, please pick it up. The author is just, she writes so, like, it's easy to read. It's not complex. It's not complicated. Like, I enjoy lyrical writing from authors, but at the same time, I also want to just read the story. I don't want to have to figure out what an author means with multiple metaphors and analogies and all of that, even though it's beautiful writing. But sometimes my brain just wants to be like, give me the story in the layman's terms, please. But yes, if you haven't picked up A Fate Inked in Blood yet, well, I mean, obviously you have, if you're watching my spoiler review. I don't know what's gotten into me today, guys. It is just whirlwind. But 4.5 stars for me. I loved it. I can't wait for the next one. I mean, let me know what you thought of the book, because obviously if you're here, you've read it. If you haven't read it yet and you just want to hear my spoilers, I mean, thank you. I appreciate it. But yeah, I just cannot wait for the next one. I don't even think it's been announced yet. But don't forget, like, subscribe, and be good people.
When you feel it's hopeless, when you think that you lost, oh, I will take your hand and we'll rise up from the dust.